You know, sometimes you hear a story that just stops you. It doesn't matter who you are, where you're from, it grabs your soul. And honestly, the story of Bilal ibn Rabah, it's unmatched. This isn't just history, it's resilience, it's courage, it's strength that redefines what it means to be human. Mecca 1400 years ago, a city obsessed with idols, with bloodlines, with wealth. If you were rich, you mattered. If you weren't, you were invisible. And if you were a slave, you were property. That's the world Bilal was born into. His mother, an Abyssinian slave. His father, Arab. But in Mecca, that meant nothing. They saw him as nothing more than a body to command, a tool to exploit. Yet inside him burned something no master could touch, a spirit like iron, and a voice so deep it could shake the desert. Then came a man named Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam with a message that turned the world upside down. One God, no idols, no masters, except the Creator. For Bilal, those words were lightning. Imagine being told, you matter, you are equal, your worth is before God alone. He embraced Islam without hesitation, but that choice, oh, it set the city on fire. His master Umayyah ibn Khalaf went insane with rage. How could his slave dare rise above him in faith? So he unleashed cruelty. Bilal was dragged across scorching sand. Massive stones crushed onto his chest, whips tore his skin, and they screamed, "Renounce this faith!" But Bilal, he didn't debate. He didn't plead, he just whispered, and over, Ahad, Ahad, Ahad. One. Ribs cracking, lips bleeding, yet his soul towering higher than mountains. And people saw it. They couldn't look away. If a slave could stand taller than his master, maybe everything they believed about power was a lie. One day, Hazrat Abu Bakr Siddiq, radiyallahu anhu, walked by. He saw Bilal crushed under the stone, whispering, "Ahad." And his heart burned. He confronted Umayyah. "Sell him to me." The price was high, but Abu Bakr paid without hesitation. And just like that, Bilal was free. Chains broken, scars permanent, but faith unshaken. Soon after, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam needed someone to call the believers to prayer. Who did he choose? Not a noble, not a man of status. He chose Bilal. The man society once enslaved now became the first muezzin of Islam. His voice thundered, "Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar," across Mecca, across history. Every word was a victory. Every call was a dagger. In the pride of Quraysh, the man they once dragged through the dirt was now the voice of Islam itself. Years later, at Badr, Bilal faced his old master, Umayyah, the same man who once crushed stones onto his chest. This time, the chains were gone. The roles reversed, and with the Muslims beside him, Bilal witnessed divine justice. Umayyah fell, never to oppress again. It wasn't revenge, it was justice. Justice from the Lord of the worlds. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam loved Bilal deeply. One day he said to him, "Oh Bilal, I heard your footsteps in paradise. Think about that. The man society once enslaved, his footsteps were already echoing in paradise." But then came the hardest day. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam passed away. Bilal stood to call the adhan. He reached, "Ashhadu anna Muhammadur Rasulullah," and broke. He collapsed. In tears, the companions wept with him. He couldn't do it anymore. Every word tore his heart. So Bilal left Medina. Years later, he returned. The people begged, "Bilal, call the adhan again." He did, and Medina erupted in tears, because in his voice and they felt the Prophet again. It's said no day after his death brought more tears to Medina than that day. In his last moments, Bilal's wife wept, but he smiled. He said, "Tomorrow, I meet my loved ones, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and his companions." And with that he left this world. Bilal ibn Rabah, the slave who became the voice of Islam, the man who turned chains into honor, the believer whose footsteps echoed in paradise. And today, every adhan you hear, Every call to prayer across the world carries Bilal's legacy, proof that faith can raise the lowest of people higher than kings.